Thoughts are very powerful things that can control the foundation of all objective matter. Thoughts are information units that can weave and meld into other more complex thoughts, using electromagnetic properties inherent within each of them. These thoughts can grow in strength as individuals and as conglomerations, thanks to these inherent electromagnetic properties, and also through the power of human attention. Highly focused and trained human attention, which is sometimes referred to as psychic power, can attract and intensify thoughts, because it is able to project life force. At the moment of their inception, thoughts can be considered mental images or ideas. As the frequencies become more solid, from our physical point of view, thoughts could be considered something like emotions, or emotion-generating ideas. As the frequency of a thought comes closer to what we would consider physical reality, this thought could then be called a belief. Beliefs become truths, and these truths soon become undeniable facts. Within short order, and under favorable conditions, facts become objects or events in what we call physical reality. A great example of how all this works can be seen when we study thought forms. Thought forms are psychically intense thoughts, that is, thoughts that have been given a great deal of attention and emotional or psychic energy. Thought forms can also be a conglomeration of many thoughts that unite because they share similar information. Thoughts therefore are information packets of varying intensity, which in the physically objective world we refer to as size. As I mentioned, the inherent electromagnetic property of thoughts means that they are attracted to each other in varying degrees. Like attracts like, and the thought's intensity determines its electromagnetic strength, which determines its magnetic power. This attraction of one thought to another never stops, which means that thoughts are in a constant state of growth and change, and the speed of this change is directly related to the size, or intensity, of that thought. From our physical perspective, this attraction of invisible thoughts continues over time, until a large conglomeration of thoughts is able to unite and interweave to create a stronger unit that can become quite complex and powerful. The more powerful the thought form becomes, the easier it is for it to affect objective physical reality. In the first book in my Servitor Creation series, I use the example of an accidentally created thought form that develops into a type of negative entity, which then eventually begins to haunt a place and affect all the people that come in contact with it. As I mention in this book, an emotionally intense event might create an initial electromagnetic thought stamp in a particular physical location that can begin to attract and unite thoughts of a similar nature. Perhaps because of the negative intensity of an initial emotional event, like a murder or a suicide for example, all those that come close to this blighted area begin to have thoughts of that past tragic event, reliving mentally what they might have heard from others, or what they might have heard in the news. This initial negative event could even have been so intensely emotionally expressed by the people involved in it, that anyone going near this area experiences a negative vibe, without ever knowing anything about what had happened there at all. As this negative thought conglomeration grows in intensity and complexity over time, it begins to create a powerful negative atmosphere around itself, so that even though the initial murder or suicide might have long been forgotten, there is now a negativity about the area that naturally steers human attention towards feelings and thoughts of pain and fright. Eventually this now quite powerful thought form begins to develop a type of intent that drives it towards the expansion of itself, which in this case means that it is driven to feed itself. It is driven to attract more and more negative thoughts to its ever-growing pool of negativity. It does this by trying to infect those that come close to it with a sense of dread and pain, so that more negative thoughts and feelings are then added to its increasing form. People coming into this area, now that the negative thought form has developed a great deal of energetic mass and density, begin to not only experience negative thoughts themselves, but also begin to experience real physical phenomena. They might, for example, feel cold drafts. They might hear strange noises, smell noxious smells, or even see objects being moved by this entity. What has happened then, is that one particularly intense thought, or group of thoughts, had such inherent energy, that they have been able to attract more and more thoughts of a similar nature to themselves. As this pool of thoughts grows, it changes this conglomeration of negativity, perhaps add in not only thoughts of dread, pain, and hate, but also thoughts of bad experiences and tragedies of all sorts. As this thought form grows, it changes into a more complex entity that has access to concentrated packets of information that allow it to objectify, that is, make physical, those things that previously only existed on a subjective level. This thought form entity will continue to grow at a faster and faster rate as its electromagnetic potency grows. And with enough complexity and energetic mass, it can literally begin to manifest aspects of itself in the physical world. Given enough attention or raw psychic food, this entity will be able to move away from where it was originally conceived, and will even be able to make limited contact with people, like pushing them or scratching them perhaps. There is a line, a very wide, and little understood line might I add, where internal subjective feelings and thoughts become concrete objective perceptions. The thought form is, in my opinion, one of the best ways to study the boundaries of this line.